Well, it's springtime in Indiana, in the Hoosier Heartland, and that means that we're going to be opening up the royal pool. So I've pinned some pump in the tarp that lies over the pool in the wintertime of the winter rain, snow, and the leaves that collect therein. Kind of a pain in the backside, but you know what? When you're the king, you gotta do what you're told. So I keep an eye to the pool. Yesterday, I headed down to the pool to continue this sump pumping. When I arrived at the pool, I found something extraordinary. Right here in this locked gate, right in this location, generally speaking here, but more specifically, right here, is where I found 2 plastic Easter eggs, laid there, as if for me to find them there. I picked up the eggs, and I shook them, but they were empty. Nothing was inside. There was not $1 million inside. There was not a note thanking me, the king, for taking care of the pool and getting it ready for opening Memorial Day. There was nothing like that found in them. Nothing. I feel a little dismayed over that, but whatever. So I picked them up, and thinking kindly, as a king likes to do, I placed them on top of the gazebo, where the person who may have left them there could come right back and find them and would not be missing 2 very empty plastic Easter eggs. And I continued my way back home. Now, when I got to about this general location, about right here, I seen my landlord's grandsons, and they were walking down this way, right in through here, and they had with them plastic grocery sacks. So I asked them, "Hey, are you guys hunting mushrooms?" No, we're not. In fact, we assumed that you already went and picked all the mushrooms. To which I shook my head. Yeah, I already did. That's what I was going to say. I already got them, dude. Don't waste your time, but whatever. And they said, well, what we're doing is we're scavenging hunting. And I'm like, scavenging hunt? Yeah, we hid plastic Easter eggs. And I'm like, oh, because I was just over at the pool, and I found 2 Easter eggs a couple hours ago, and I placed them up in the gazebo. And they go, yeah, we found them in the gazebo, and we was wondering how they got there. I acknowledged to them that the king had placed them there so that they could come back and they would not remain missing. And then he tells me of something very particular, something that makes this story create a left-hand turn just into the middle of nowhere. He said that they was back in the woods, and they climbed the middle deer stand in the course, and there he found, on top of that, a raccoon's dead head lying there. So I asked him, was this a fresh dead coon's head, or? Yeah, it was, he said. It was fresh. And I said, kind of a bit puzzled. I'm like, kind of odd, but smart money says a predatory bird picked it up and took it there so it'd be out of sight so he could come back to eat it later. But, I told him, I was going back into my royal forestry to put an SD card in my trail cam, and that I would check into it. So I gathered my video camera. I said peace to him. I said, hey, later, dude, to the landlord's grandsons, and carried my way back to my house to get my video camera. So I get back in there, after gathering my trail cam. I get back in there to check this out. Now, this is the one that I thought he was talking about. I thought he was talking about this deer stand. Of course, it wasn't this deer stand at all. It was the other middle one that he was speaking of. So I started walking there. And in so doing, passing my trail cam. And this is me videotaping my trail cam, which is videotaping me back. I should have got that out of there, man, and really made like a split image of me videotaping myself while I was videotaping myself, videotaped the trail cam. That would have been cool. Anyway, so I arrived at the deer stand in which he was talking about. And upon arriving at it, I could clearly see that up in it, there was a dead raccoon head. So I shimmied up the deer stand, to get a better look. And upon getting up there it was. Laid there, uneaten upon. It was not fresh at all. I just don't think he knew what I meant by fresh, because upon further examination you could see that the hair was matted down by rain, it was somewhat faded by sunlight, the under part of it you could see the skeletal remains, the eye sockets were empty, and I guesstimated it had been there for probably about a month and a half to 2 months. But, with no bite marks on it, it did appear purposely placed there. Right there, so that the person going up that deer stand would find it. This intrigued me. This had me puzzled. I was perplexed. That's me I'm talking about. Michael, the King Katt. The guy that's like the solver of problems. When I was but a young kid, a very young kid, my mother used to describe me as the child that could answer anything. A child so developed into science that he used scientific fact to discover the underlying principles of reality. A kid that got 2 blue ribbons in the science fair in 2 running years. I made and I created for the science fair an ionic propulsion rocket. I once theorized a grand unified theory where both relativity and quantum mechanics coexisted in a 3rd dimension that we call our 3D reality, and reflected themselves upon both. I also once said that a cigar sometimes is just a cigar, but that's irrelevant right now. Let me get back to why the hell was I talking about? And then I had to wonder, who would do this? Who would walk a half a mile back through the fields to the forestry, knowing my royal forest and where the deer stands lie upon it, to place a dead raccoon's head there for a reaction? Oh shit! Oh no, not zombie coons! Well, thank God I brought my K-bar along with me, said the king. I thought that is a devious little mind. A devious mind. One of a young man. A man that hunts. One that lives local, knows the properties, knows where the tree stands of the royal forestry lie in the woods. They did this, and they lived close by. It is unknown to me at this time as to who did it. But the smart money lies on this right here. I will find this perpetrator. And they will pay the royal price for their actions. Peace.